Bow. What up, y'all? I want to welcome y'all back to another episode of the Trifecta Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification button on, man. We're coming to you guys strong throughout the whole playoffs, man. It's been a great playoff so far. I'm so excited, man. So turn the notification button on, man. The Trifecta Podcast give you videos weekly, man. Turn the notification button on, man, and comment and show some support. All right, so next up, we got Boston versus Cleveland. So Boston won in 5. All right, no Donovan Mitchell the last 2 games. No Karis LeVert. No Jared Allen seemingly for the entire series, it felt like. He might have played 1 game, but he essentially did not play the entire series. So Boston kind of won by default, if you ask me. But Cleveland did put up a good fight, so we'll get into those stats. But Boston moves on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 2nd time in a row. Actually, the 3rd time in a row because they went to the NBA Finals in 2022. So Boston's dynasty is still intact. No championship yet, but they're on a 3-year run going to the Eastern Conference Finals, so they've been looking really good so far, man. So let's get into some numbers. Field goal percentage, 48.5 for the Boston Celtics, 46 for the Cleveland Cavaliers, all right? Boston had a 121.7 offensive rating on 113.6 defensive rating. So Cleveland hung in there, man. Though it was a 5-game series, Cleveland did not get outmatched the way a lot of people think. So points in the paint, 214 to 236 in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So to me, this is not much of a surprise. Boston hasn't been a great points in the paint team this whole season. In fact, they were the worst points in the paint team the entire NBA season. Cleveland also held them to 36.4 shooting from the 3-point line. So that's a big thing for the Celtics, man. They shoot a lot of threes. They get up a lot of those things. They're pretty much a trigger-happy team. All right, they live by the 3, die by the 3. So if you can limit those shots and limit the overall percentage, it gives yourself the best chance to win versus Celtics. But they did not rebound. So the Cavs got out-rebounded in total 221 to 177 in favor of the Boston Celtics. That's not going to work. Boston was a top 5 rebounding team in the NBA in the regular season. And this is without Kristaps Porzingis. So Jayson Tatum stepped up in that category. Jaylen Brown stepped up. Al Horford stepped in, got some rebounds as well. So it was an overall team effort. But offensive rebounds were also something that the Boston Celtics took advantage of. So they won an offensive rebounding battle 49 to 35. All right, and free throw attempts as well. So Boston is the best team in the league in free throw attempts allowed. All right, they're only allowing 11 free throw attempts per game. All right, so they play very good defense and they don't foul, which is something big, especially going into the next series, depending on who they play, whether it's the Knicks or the Pacers. Especially with the Knicks, all right, Jalen Brunson gets to the free throw line all the time. All right, so if you can neutralize that, that actually helps you in that series as well. 3-pointers made battle, Boston had 14. To Cleveland's 12.8. So, in my opinion, the best way to beat Boston is to limit your threes, limit their overall percentage from 3, and you have to out-rebound them or stay within range of the rebounding. That's how the Miami Heat beat them last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's how Golden State beat the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. So, I want to give you guys some stats on that right there. So, in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, the Miami Heat out-rebounded them 288 to 284 on the glass, all right? They also held Boston to 4 less three-pointers, all right? So, Boston was making 16 threes per game in the 2022-2023 season, and they held them to 11.8. So, essentially, 4 less made threes per game, all right? That's 12 points. That's a big difference when playing against the Celtics, especially since they don't really get into the paint that much. 2022 NBA Final versus the Golden State Warriors. Rebounding difference was 259 to 250 in favor of the Celtics. However, that gap was relatively close. So if you can do that, stay relatively close, and limit their threes, as I mentioned before, that helps you out. The Dubs actually shot better than the Boston Celtics in the threes, all right? They made 15.3 threes to Boston's 14.3. So they essentially beat Boston at their own game. If you could do that, you could out-rebound them or stay within range of the rebounding, give yourself the best chance to win. Boston's a really good team with a lot of talent and a lot of shot makers. So you're going to need shot makers on the other side and very smart and tactical defense, all right? Heels above the 3-point line, running the guys off the line, make them play in the paint. That's something they don't want to do. Boston literally has kicked out wide open driving lanes for 3. They do that all the time, all right? So use the Golden State Warriors formula, use Miami Heat's formula. That's the best way to beat the Boston Celtics. So I want to shout out 2 players from the Boston Celtics, man. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So Jayson Tatum averaged 27 points per game, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, or 44% shooting from the field, and 27% from 3. So not great efficiency numbers, but I think he's been playing really well, man. I've been hearing a lot of, negative talk about Jayson Tatum in these playoffs, saying he's not been really good. And I tend to disagree with that, man. Judging by the stats here, Jayson Tatum is averaging 10.4 rebounds per game, all right, in the playoffs so far. That's the second highest mark of his career, and averaging 5.8 assists per game, which is also the second highest mark of his career. So his points are down, yes. His efficiency is down, yes. But overall, he's doing all the intangibles really well. All right, he doesn't have to score 30 in order for these guys to win, especially versus these teams. All right, so I think Jayson Tatum will be just fine. I think his scoring will start to pick up in the next round and next series as the stakes get higher, as the teams get better. But I think Jayson Tatum has been playing really well in the playoffs so far. Also, Jaylen Brown, man, he's been an efficiency freak. All right. 23 points per game, 6 rebounds, 59% shooting from the field, 43% from three. So he's been really efficient so far in the playoffs, which is a really good sign for the Boston Celtics. Man, you don't want Jaylen Brown to be erratic like he was in last year's playoffs or in the playoffs prior to that. I mean, he could be erratic with the turnovers. He could be erratic with his shot selection. But if he's cutting that down, man, he's an even better player. He's already a freak of nature defensively and athletically and getting downhill, man. That's something that Jayson Tatum struggles with sometimes, getting downhill versus a lot of physical pressure. But Jaylen Brown is probably one of the few guys on the team that can do that on a consistent basis. So kudos to Jaylen Brown. So I want to get into the Cavs side really quick. So it was a gentleman's sweep, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of people thought, man. The Cavs played really well. They played above their means, all right? They did not have Donovan Mitchell, their best player, for the last 2 games. They did not have Jared Allen the entire series. They did not have Karis LeVert for the last game even. So they were really undermanned, but they really fought hard, and they kept the games really close, man, considering everything that's been going on. So total points in the series were 542 to 506 in favor of the Celtics. So you would think in a gentleman's sweep, the margin would be a lot wider, right? But if we do a quick math here, that's only a 7-point margin on average for the 5 games. So that's a 3-possession game essentially. So Cleveland was right there in terms of, it was close, but it wasn't close, if that makes sense to you guys. So like I said before, Cleveland did a really good job, man, despite Darius Garland's struggle. So Darius Garland averaged 16.8 points per game, 40% from the field, 30% from 3. So he did not have a great series at all, man. I think he had a hard time deciphering when to shoot and when to just kind of be a playmaker. All right, he's playing a lot more off the ball with Donovan Mitchell's usage rate being so high while he was playing. And when Donovan Mitchell didn't play, he had one really good game. With that last game, he shot very poorly. So that's something Cleveland's going to have to figure out. All right, they're 2 guards. They're 2 small guards and essentially do the same thing. Donovan Mitchell is more explosive, but neither one of them are great off-ball players. So having 2 small guards in the NBA playoffs is not a recipe for success anyways, so you probably have to do something with that in the future. So one player I do want to shout out from the Cleveland Cavaliers is Evan Mobley. He averaged 21 points per game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists on 62% shooting from the field, 57% effective field goal percentage, 59% true shooter percentage. Why is that significant? Because last year he averaged 46% on effective field goal percentage, 47.6% true shooting percentage, all right? Those are all way below league average, all right? League average is about 54%, and he was actually above that in his playoff series compared to last series. So Evan Mobley got better. He showed some strides. That's something you kind of got to figure out as well with the 2 big lineup, the 2 Twin Towers, because neither one of them can shoot the ball. So it's going to be hard for you to generate good spacing when you have 2 bigs who cannot shoot. Like, for example, the Minnesota Timberwolves have 2 bigs as well, but Cat plays on the perimeter if he has to. He actually prefers to play on the perimeter. So when you don't have that spacing, it makes it harder for your guards to get in the paint on a consistent basis. But, man, Evan Mobley, like I said, showed a lot of potential there, showed a lot of offensive pop that I think, Cleveland Cavaliers fans should be excited about. So lastly, what is Cleveland going to do in the future, right? They obviously have a decision to make with their 2 small guards in their Twin Tower lineup, man. They have to do something about it. It's clear it's not going to work, all right? The 2 small guards, the 2 Twin Towers, man, you got to kind of get rid of at least one of them or both of them all together and get some pieces back. So here's some quick stats for you guys just with the lineups, all right? So Cleveland is 17-8 without Darius Garland this year, all right? 19-13 without Mobley, all right? So when Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen is out, they actually have a worse net rating. So they have a negative net rating when Donovan Mitchell is out, when Jared Allen is out, as opposed to Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. They actually have a positive net rating, all right? So it's clear that they're better with their 2 veteran stars, but will they look to go the youth route, all right, and try to get pieces back for Donovan Mitchell? Donovan Mitchell's a max player. Jared Allen can help a lot of teams, man, so you may be able to get more pieces back. That kind of depends on what route you want to go. I do think we need to pick her out sooner rather than later. You can't keep floating in this mediocrity ball of just making it to the first, second round and being okay with it. All right, you gotta start building something greater, and Cleveland Cavaliers organization has to figure that out. I'm not in the front office, all right, so I can just give you my opinion, what I would do. Personally, I would probably go with Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. All right, Donovan Mitchell is still young. He's not old by any stretch of the imagination. Jared Allen isn't either. So if you get rid of Darius Garland, at least you could get back some size on the wing, get rid of that 2 small guard lineup, and bring in a defender back or a shooter. I think you need both of those for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if you want to keep the 2 big lineup, that's cool, but at least make some type of change and shake something up a little bit and give yourself a better look in the playoffs. But other than that, man, the Celtics, you move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Once again, Cleveland, I got to give you guys this. 2 in a row, crazy. I did not mean to do that because I thought you guys fought really hard. But, man, Cleveland Cavaliers, 1-2-3 Cancun, Boston Celtics may have an opportunity to get to the NBA Finals. So, time will tell, but it's been a pretty good playoff series so far.